From Relay, this is Connected, episode 523. Today's show is brought to you by Fitbod, Squarespace, and ExpressVPN. I am the Ricky Benchman, Myke Hurley, and I would like to introduce Mr. Federico Ticci. Hi, Federico.
Oh, ciao, Myke. How are you?
I'm very good. I've got. This is one of those shows today where yesterday morning we were texting like, not really sure what to talk about, and then by the end of the day, the entire show had written itself. So
yes. Before we get into the more topical follow-up,
okay,
I have some real life follow-up.
Yes.
In that you sent me some tea, like some actual tea to drink, because I mentioned offhandedly that I liked drinking tea before doing the show.
Yep.
And so you sent me some tea from a company that sounds like a law firm. What's the name?
Fortnum and Mason.
Yeah, that's where you go.
Does it something and something?
Yeah, because they really care about your intellectual property. So anyway, I tried the tea today. So I purchased from Amazon because I figured I don't have one, a little stainless steel filter to
a tea strainer. So when I was buying this for you, so the tea that I bought you is called Countess Grey, which is because you mentioned you liked Earl Grey tea, and I was like, well, buddy, have I got a tea for you? And it's Fortnum and Mason's twist on Earl Grey, and you could buy either tea bags or the loose leaf tea. And there was two things I was thinking. One, I'm going to presume Federico is fancy and he uses loose leaf tea, but now I know you are now, but you weren't.
I am now.
Before.
I am fancy now.
And also, you get a lot more for the money, and you get a nice little tin that you can.
That's the thing. That's the thing. We liked the tin so much; it's now always in sight on our kitchen shelf.
Come on,
because it actually goes like the colors. They actually go really nice with another little box that we have there for keeping like little sugar packets. I don't. It's useful to have. I don't consume sugar anymore, but when you have people over and you offer some tea or some coffee, most people use sugar, so it's useful. So it goes perfectly with the color of that little box. And I tried the tea today. My God, it was incredible.
Fortnum and Mason, established in 1707, so they've been around for a bit. Isn't that an incredible thing? Like, older than America?
Well, if you think you're speaking to an Italian, right? So if you think about it, lots of things are older than America.
No, but it's like we have that in common, right? That like our countries are very, very old, right?
Yeah.
And like there is a lot of established history. Like, in London and in Rome, you can walk around and see buildings that are just like, they're medieval, right? Like it's just but like just this company who makes tea has been around for longer than the US of A. I just find that hilarious. But Fortnum and Mason, I really love Fortnum and Mason. I recommend if you're coming to London and you want to have a nice tea experience, like like an afternoon tea, this is the one I recommend because they have a lot of tradition, but they're also slightly modern too, which I like that about them. And also their biscuits are incredible. Their jams, Federico, my word, they make a banana jam, which sounds terrible, but is
well, I don't know.
delicious.
Send me another box.
Well, now I know I can send you products from Fortnum and Mason. You're in for a treat. All right, there might be some stuff coming to you. And next time you're in London, I'm going to take you there. They make my favorite biscuits in the world. They're like these shortbread biscuits with pieces of caramel in them. Oh my God.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, the tea was incredible. It's got this taste of lemon. It's so good. So good. Anyway, we now have real follow-up.
Actual follow-up. I've got a couple of people who wrote in about the Mokibo. So this is the keyboard that has a trackpad in the keys.
Yes.
That we were talking about. And we were wondering if it was real. John said, I got one of the previous Mokibo keyboards and it actually does work. It pairs with 3 devices and you have to touch the left mouse button while swiping the keys to use the trackpad. I wouldn't use it full time, but as a supplement for occasional use of Vision Pro or Raspberry Pis, it's absolutely usable.
Okay.
And Cameron wrote in and said, I have a Mokibo keyboard, actually two, since they sent me a new model as a replacement. It took forever to arrive, a little sketchy, but I got it, and it is 100% a Federico-style weird tech item. It's super thin and very cool to use.
Knows me.
The touch surface can be a little sensitive, and there is a toggle to disable it. It also pairs with up to 3 devices and has appropriate key mappings for Apple, iOS, Android, etc. It is a nifty device for sure.
Federico style weird tech item.
Yeah. Maybe
Mokibo, huh? Interesting. So you need to hold down on the left mouse button while swiping.
I think that there might be 2 different models here, because if you notice, Cameron says there's a toggle to disable it. So I wonder if Cameron has a more modern one where like you just toggle it on and off and it will just work. But it seems like one of these things, I think where Jan put it best, like you wouldn't want to use this constantly, but every now and again it's like helpful to be able to also just use the trackpad with the keyboard. And that actually feels like actually perfect for Vision Pro, because eye tracking's fantastic, but sometimes it's not so good in the compatible apps. So then you would want a trackpad. So you're just using it sometimes.
Now that you mentioned the Vision Pro, so I'm going to check out the Mokibo. Now that you mentioned the Vision Pro, I also need to mention something. So I've been using the Vision Pro again, as we established.
Yep.
But something I noticed while using, obviously, Vision OS 2 now, I use the Vision Pro at night, right? Mostly at night. I just my personal private monitor so I can watch some YouTube or some TV shows without bothering Sylvia next to me. However, starting with Vision OS 2, I get these low light alerts, which are not new. But what is new is that in addition to the alerts, now my windows, they start drifting. And it's kind of making me sick in the sense that like very often, I'm in my dark bedroom, we just have some like blue mood lighting going on. Because we don't like to sleep completely in the dark. So we have this Philips Hue turned down very low with a blue color. And what I notice is that randomly, the windows that are in front of me with Vision OS, they start like getting away from me. And it's very disorienting. And it's almost like the windows are escaping and they're like getting further and further away from me.
So it's having some issues with the tracking, isn't it?
With the track, and eventually they stop and it says tracking failed. Now, this was not happening in Vision OS 1, and the bedroom is always the same one. The lights are still the same ones. It's just now it's more sensitive to the low light, and the windows, they're drifting. And it's kind of like, it's sort of physically uncomfortable because like it creates that illusion in your brain that you are moving backwards, while in fact it's the windows that are getting away from you. Very strange. Very strange.
Are you on the beta?
I am.
Okay.
Yes. So
I wonder if they're playing
running
around to some kind of track, like anchoring or something.
Yeah.
I think a way to fix it could maybe be to turn on travel mode.
Ooh, I could turn on travel mode.
I mean, I know that comes with its own disadvantages, but like I think the point of that is to stop things from moving, right? So maybe if it's like bothering you, maybe turn on travel mode.
Well, that's an excellent tip.
This shouldn't be happening, right? Because it's infrared.
Shouldn't be happening, yeah. I thought about doing like a few months ago, I saw some recommendations on Reddit that people got some like infrared floodlights to put in their bedrooms at night. And it's like, it's this light that they don't emit any visible light. They just create infrared light for the Vision Pro that in theory should help with the tracking. But I'm just very concerned about putting this thing in my bedroom and then having to explain to Sylvia that we have infrared lights that are invisible but actually there in the bedroom.
It's one of these things where like, I don't think there's a problem with it, but like why just not have it? You know, like why not just not have it?
Yeah. It's like when you're getting those like ultrasound on Amazon. I saw there's like so I need to contextualize everything I say. A few months ago, okay, no, stay with me. A few months ago, we had a pigeon problem on the balcony. These pigeons, they were feasting on my plants for whatever reason. And they were making a whole mess, right? These pigeons, they would come in and they would start, using the little, what are called like They have paws. What do birds have? They're not
Talons?
legs. I guess. Anyway, they were using those, and like they were making a mess of my potted plants, right? Because they were looking for bugs or worms or whatever. Anyway, I had to clean up every day, and so we considered, how do we keep the pigeons away? And we considered like one of those ultrasound machines that you can put on your balcony. And they were saying, in theory, they're safe because the frequency is just for the birds. It's not for humans or dogs. And it's like, but would you trust what the Amazon listing says?
I don't think ultrasound is what you're looking for. What was ultrasound is like what you use for like scanning people, but like I know what you mean. Like the very like the sounds that are very low frequency that humans can't hear in theory.
That not whatever it's called. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
they were calling it ultrasound or the Italian equivalent in the Amazon listing. In any case, we didn't get it. We ended up just putting some white pebbles in the pots.
Ultrasonic.
Ultrasonic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We put some pebbles in the pots so that the birds with their claws, talons, wouldn't be able to access the, just the dirt.
We have tried using one of these ultrasonic things because we had and have a bit of a fox problem.
Ooh,
doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Doesn't work. They don't care. One day, we was in one of our planters outside, and it had just been knocked over. So it's like, I guess they just go behind and just knock it over, and that's how they deal with it. But maybe pigeons wouldn't be able to have that kind of strength, but I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, I didn't get the IR light for the Vision Pro, and I guess I'll try travel mode. So thank you for the tip.
Speaking of Vision Pro, so I got the Spigen strap.
Okay.
I would say fiddly, like a lot of these things, I find it very fiddly to adjust, like to get it tight.
Yes.
But I always have this problem with like any bags or anything that has like a buckle adjustment. I always struggle with, and I ended up going to like what I think is like as tight as it can possibly go, and I still think I might want it a little tighter, but it's good. Like I like this. It is what I was hoping Apple would make. I like it more. It works for me in a way that the Solo Top doesn't, and I now can have the more comfortable solo band with the top head support that I wanted. So I'm happy that this product exists, and I'm thankful that you told me about it.
Nice.
I also wanted to mention a blog post that you linked to on Mac Stories. By Azad Balabanian, which is honestly one of the best blog posts I've read in a long time.
Yes.
It's incredibly good. And this is Azad talking about their experiences of traveling with the Vision Pro. This is almost like the definitive guide for traveling with the Vision Pro. I think that's how I would call it.
Yeah.
It's just really well written. Loads of great photos and videos too that really illustrate his points very cleanly and understandably. I just thought it was fantastic. Like super, super good. And like you, it made me feel like, oh, the next time I travel, maybe I'll do this. But I have yet to do it.
Yeah, and obviously Azad seems to know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
For context, they're a senior product manager at Niantic.
Cool.
And Azad, checking Azad's bio, they've been working on VR, 3D graphics, photogrammetry, like this sort of stuff for decades. So very cool, great blog post, lots of like very practical advice, which I appreciated. And it's fun to discover someone blogging in 2024 that I've never seen before. So that was exciting.
How'd you come across this?
Well, I think it was on Reddit. I want to say it was on Reddit.
That would make sense. Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
I just wondered how you're plugged into the ecosystem. Reddit.
I mean, Reddit is still and always gonna be most likely the place. Yeah.
And Kyle wrote in about Threads and just said, I wanted to flag the missed opportunity over the last couple of episodes to use the name Federico to describe Federico's engagement bait persona on Threads, which is just like so good. And I'm disappointed in myself, really, for not thinking about this, because I just think that is brilliant.
That is very good. And it is a persona that that is such a...
It's a different version of yourself.
Yeah, Kyle, you know me well. This is everything about this follow-up is perfect. I love it.
Federico.
Yeah. That's cool.
I have definitely called you Federico in the past because I think I've told you about this, where when I grew up, the TH sound was pronounced as an F. So I'd be like 1, 2, 3. Like it's just the way that people who grew up in my part of London would say that. It's more of an F sound than a th sound.
Is there a name? Is there a name for that type of accent?
I am sure there is, but I don't know what it is. And so, like for me, one of the hardest things for me to say is 30-day free trial, which I have to say quite a lot in my life because I want to say 30-day free trial, which is terrible. Sometimes I say 30-day 3 trial, which is completely wrong. And so I know I have called you Federico in the past because I just will have done this because sometimes I'm overcompensating and instead of trying to correct the F, I correct the TH incorrectly. This episode is brought to you by our friends at FitBod. When you're looking to change your fitness level, it can be hard to know where to get started. That's why I want to let you know FitBod is an easy and affordable way to build a fitness plan that is just for you. Everybody has their own path when it comes to personal fitness. I use FitBod because it uses data that they know from me and the workouts that I'm doing to suit things perfectly to me. It adapts as I improve and keeps every workout fresh and challenging, which helps me progress the way that I'm looking for. This is because you will see better results when a workout program is tailored to suit you, your body, your experience, your environment, and your goals. FitBod keeps all this information for you in your FitBod gym profile. It uses this information to track your muscle recovery so you can avoid burnout and keep up your momentum. And it does this automatically. You don't have to do anything. It's using the information that it has from exercise science. They have analyzed billions of data points to make sure that all of this stuff is working well, and they understand how bodies work and how fitness works, and it's all been fine-tuned by a team of certified personal trainers. Whenever you're learning a new exercise with FitBod, you can be sure that you're going to learn it the right way because they have demonstration videos shot from multiple angles. They have more than 1,000 in the app to make sure that you're going to understand exactly how to perform every exercise. FitBod tracks your muscle fatigue and recovery to design a well-balanced workout routine because when your muscles work together with your entire body and your entire system, you avoid overworking some muscles and underworking others because all of this can negatively impact your results. So they make sure that they keep a holistic view of everything you've got. The FitBod app is easy to use. You can stay informed with their progress tracking charts and weekly reports and sharing cards. It lets you keep track of your achievements and your personal bests while sharing them with your friends and family. And it integrates with your Apple Watch, Wear OS smartwatch, and apps like Strava, Fitbit, and Apple Health. Personalized training of this quality can be expensive, but FitBod is just $12.99 a month or $79.99 a year. But you can get 25% off your membership by signing up today at fitbod.me/connected. So go now and get a customized fitness plan at fitbod.me/connected. That is fitbod.me/connected for 25% of your membership. Our thanks to FitBod for their support of this show and Relay. So Apple announced a new iPad mini yesterday. Federico, can you give us the details?
Well, it's a quote-unquote new iPad. No, it's a new iPad mini 3 years after the 6th gen iPad mini that was in October 2021. This one has the same same dimensions, same size, same thickness, same weight as the old iPad mini, same display, but there are some new things. It comes with an A17 Pro chip that's going to power Apple Intelligence. This is the A17 Pro from last year. This is not the A18.
This is from last year's Pro iPhone.
Yes. It comes with Bluetooth 5.3 up from Bluetooth 5. It has Wi-Fi 6E up from Wi-Fi 6. It comes with faster USB file transfers. It now has USB 3.1 Gen 2 as opposed to 3.1 Gen 1. Basically, this means it can transfer files up to 10 gigabit per second, up from 5 gigabit per second. It supports the Apple Pencil Pro and Apple Pencil Hover. The base storage has been doubled. The 64 gigabit version doesn't exist anymore. It now goes all the way up to 512 gigabytes. It supports Smart HDR4 for photos instead of Smart HDR3. It's eSIM only. It doesn't have a physical SIM tray slot anymore. And it says iPad mini in the back instead of just an iPad.
Never done that before. So
most important change. What it does not have,
Sure,
doesn't have ProMotion, so it's still a 60 hertz display, doesn't have OLED, no new accessories, no nano texture glass option, and it just looks the same. And arguably, the colors, they're worse.
not arguably.
They are worse.
They removed all of the saturation. There's the great purple one, which I love. I have the purple iPad mini, and it looks great. They have a new purple iPad mini. It looks like a silver iPad mini looked at the old iPad mini, and then that was what happened to it.
It looks like ridiculous. They finished all the paint with the iPhone 16
I don't get it,
models.
Man. I just don't. I'm so tired of even
like what is it? Like, explain this to me. What is it exactly that justifies the iPhone 16 looking ultramarine or pink and being absolutely glorious when you look at it, but then the iPad mini is like, you can subtly make out a faint drop of color in there, but it's like different, slightly colored versions of the same gray.
I don't understand.
Man. Me neither.
We'll never understand it. It just feels like that there are debates inside of Apple about color, and it's almost like oh well, we'll give you one product with a lot of color, but you can't have another one this year. So you have to. It's like, we'll give you the good iPhones, which means that the iPad Mini has to be worse.
Right. I don't get it.
There's a couple of details I want to pick into. I think are interesting. So the A17 Pro chip. This chip is infamously, notoriously, I don't know, made on a 3nm process, like the A18 is made on a 3nm process. But the process that TSMC created for this chip had been abandoned by them, and they went to a more efficient, with higher yield, I believe, process for the A18. But the thing was about the A17 Pro, which I think is also the M3, I think, was like, it's the same kind of like chip design or process for the nodes, or I'm saying words now that I'm not sure will go together. This process was abandoned, and TSMC knew that it wasn't going to be used going forward, but Apple needed the chips, so they made them anyway. But I think that was one of the reasons why there wasn't a new chip in the iPhone 15, was because of this. So it's intriguing for them to do, like, I don't understand why they didn't just go with the A18. Like, I assume they just have a bunch of A17 Pro chips that will only ever be used here, but it doesn't necessarily suggest a long shelf life for this iPad mini, because it would be weird for TSMC, and I'm expecting expensive for Apple to continue making more of these chips. So that is a peculiar choice, but it is a choice that they made. They needed to do this for Apple Intelligence, right? Like, it had to be, the A17 Pro was the minimum chip that it could be. But yeah, I'm surprised that they didn't just go to A18. It was obviously always going to be an A chip for this iPad and not an M chip, because Stage Manager is impossible on an iPad mini. And technically, if they put an M chip in it, it would have to support Stage Manager.
I mean, technically, everything is possible when you think about it.
You would not want to use Stage Manager on an iPad mini.
but hold on. If you accept the reality that you're using like iPhone-sized apps, let me put it another way. Would you do multitasking with very small windows on a phone if you could?
Yeah.
Right.
But what I wouldn't want is, in the multitasking, for a significant portion of my view to be taken up by the strip on the side, right?
Yeah, sure. Like, no, I get it.
Multitasking on the iPad mini is fine.
It's fine.
But but Stage Manager would be really not good, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. Look, I'm just making, just playing devil's advocate here. Yeah. No, because like I've been using old school split view and slide over for the past 3 months. Like the only moment I use Stage Manager is right now when I'm recording podcasts with my iPad plugged into an external display.
Yeah, we're going to talk about our iPad usage a bit later on in the show.
Cool.
No. I'm not telling you not to talk about. I'm doubling down with you. I have an 11 and a 13-inch iPad Pro, and I'd never turn Stage Manager on. I forget about it, which is hilarious because I do use it on my Mac, but I just don't like Stage Manager on the iPad. Really, it doesn't really need that from me.
I saw Jason suggest that the implementation of this A17 Pro instead of the A18 and the fact that the 3nm process has been abandoned, it may suggest that we're not going to have to wait another 3 years for a new iPad mini, which is a theory that's growing on me.
I think this is correct. I do. I think that for whatever reason, they have just decided that they wanted to revise it and make it ready for Apple Intelligence. I'm not really sure why yet they felt the need to do that.
But I think it's interesting because I feel like over the past year we've seen Apple sort of having to respect two different deadlines. One of them being self-imposed. The first deadline is go all in on USB-C everywhere, and that was imposed by the European Union. And the other is make sure that you have your entire device lineup as much as possible be ready for Apple Intelligence. And it does, like this iPad mini update, the more I look at it, the more it screams like, oh, we need to have an iPad mini that supports Apple Intelligence, even if like there's basically nothing new about it compared to the previous one. Down to the size. It's literally the same millimeters, the same size, the same height, the same thickness, like everything is the same. But it's ready for Apple Intelligence because they wanted to have an iPad mini going into the holiday season, I guess, that has AI. And so...
I guess it's like maybe they feel, and I would actually agree, maybe that they feel that the price of the iPad mini is too high for it not to support these features.
Right. Yeah.
Where the original iPad, you could say, fine.
Mm-hmm.
The iPad, actually, forget what I'm saying. The iPad has, what does that have? Oh, it has an A14 in it. So yes, forget.
Okay.
Wow, that's rough. Yeah, but that's going to take a while, right? But like the iPad Air and now, an Up and then the iPad Mini, they can all support it. And I think rightly so, that like the standard iPad, the $350 iPad, they can let that one go a little bit longer, like for its use case. But I would argue the iPad Mini is a niche product used by, I think, a lot of professionals. And like Apple calls this out in their blog post that like it's used by doctors and pilots. And this is actually a thing on the Vergecast that they talk about a lot. It's like pilots using iPad minis. And like it is apparently a thing that happens. So I guess they wanted to be able to offer this product with that in it. The other thing I found interesting, I saw Matt Birchler write about this, they're wrangling the Apple Pencil lineup now. So this iPad mini supports just two Apple Pencils, and it is the Apple Pencil Pro and the Apple Pencil USB-C. So currently, the iPad supports the Apple Pencil USB-C and the Apple Pencil first generation with the dongle, which is hilarious, but you would expect that within the next 12 to 18 months, they will revise the regular iPad, and it will support both the Apple Pencil Pro and the Apple Pencil with USB-C.
Yeah, it finally makes some sense. I still think it's kind of odd that now we have this Pencil Pro that is called Pro, but it's not exclusive to the iPad Pro. So why not just call it Apple Pencil 3? That part I don't understand. But whatever. Apple Pencil USB-C and Apple Pencil Pro, that's the two pencils that you can use. I think it definitely starts... The pencil lineup is making more sense. And now with this iPad mini, you're going to be able to do pencil hover. So like, I'm not sure, like, if you're an artist and you're serious about illustrations on the iPad, you're probably getting an iPad Pro, right? Because of the better display, OLED, refresh rate, size. But still, it's kind of nice that you can hover with the Apple Pencil, which is like this Apple Pencil feature that not a lot of people pay attention to. I actually think it's very nice how the UI responds to the pencil hovering over certain buttons.
Oh, I think Apple Pencil Hover is amazing. Like I've only used it for the first time, like this year, because I didn't have an iPad that was capable of it.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love it. Like, I think it makes the Apple Pencil significantly better to use.
Yes.
And I think people forget about it because it feels very natural, because it makes it more like a cursor, you know? Like all cursors, you see where you're going to hit before you hit it on the screen, you know? And and that's what the Apple Pencil Pro or any Apple Pencil that supports hover allows for. And I think it's great. I think the Apple Pencil Pro is fantastic in general. I really, really like that Apple Pencil. And I'm happy that the iPad mini is getting that feature too.
Can I share a theory with you?
Yeah.
So, given that they have implemented Apple Pencil Hover, technically, when you look at the tech specs, the display is the same, right? It's a Liquid Retina LCD 60 hertz display.
It appears to be the same display, yeah, which is a shame.
But obviously, one of the problems of the original, well, not original, the 6th generation iPad mini was the jelly scrolling, which was the problem that due to how the LCD display was refreshing, you may or may not notice one side of the screen moving slightly slower or faster, depending on which side you're looking at, than the other half. And it creates this jelly-like effect when you're looking at the whole display because the whole thing looks like it's jelly scrolling is a great description. Now, since they have obviously done something to the display to support hover, I would be shocked if the jelly scrolling is still here.
Yeah,
I think the display may look the same, but my theory is that they have done something while they were like, if you're working on it, and if the single complaint from people, aside from it's not OLED, it's not promotion, but like the single complaint about the previous iPad mini was the jelly scrolling. And so given that you're doing the work to support Apple Pencil Hover, why not do something, anything? I don't know, because I'm not an engineer at Apple, but why not do something to also address the jelly scrolling? So
a year ago, there was a selection of rumors that are out. It was actually October last year that Apple were going to try and fix this, and they would do it by rotating the LCD controller. Like, that's the issue. You got to put the controller on one side, and whatever side you put it on, this can happen. This really is only a thing with the iPad mini, though, and maybe it's because the screen is smaller. And so they were saying that they were potentially going to be rotating it. I am intrigued to see if this actually fixes it or if it makes it worse the other way. Like, it might be that just like in portrait, because I would see this, and it only ever happened in portrait, that maybe with the screen being that narrow and the way that it was done meant it was more obvious. And basically it would look like one half of the display was moving faster than the other. That was the way that it looked. And so it looks like at least there were some rumors that they were going to fix this, got dating a year ago. I will be really intrigued for when people get these to see if it has fixed it or just changed it or what. I mean, and I always had a theory, and I maintain this theory, that the display panel in the Mini is worse than the Air, because I went from an Air to a Mini, and just the clarity of the screen to me did not look as good, even though all of the specs would indicate they were the same displays. But I think that they were maybe using not as good a version of the same display, but that's purely a conspiracy theory drummed up by me in my eyes.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of talk about, and you mentioned like things that it didn't add, right? And like, basically here is a list of features which are on the iPad Pro. None of them came to the iPad mini. Should they make a Pro version of the mini? Like all of the things that you mentioned, ProMotion, OLED, nano texture, are you actually surprised that they didn't add any of these? Like, irrespective of what you want them to do, are you surprised about the fact that essentially this is the same product?
Well, I guess what I'm surprised is that they haven't done what Apple typically likes to do, which is upsell people on an even better version of the iPad mini.
Right, to keep the old one and then have a new one, which is a little bit more expensive.
I'm convinced that there are people who would totally buy an iPad mini Pro.
Yeah.
Like, imagine an even nicer and more expensive, that makes Tim Cook happy, version of the iPad mini that has a nano textured display, that has cellular. You can take it at the beach. And I mean, for a lot of people, goodbye Kindle at that point, right? I mean, it's like an iPad mini with nano texture That's gonna look incredible.
Did you see that they announced the color Kindle today?
I saw that today. I saw that. I'm just surprised that Apple is just making one version of the iPad Mini. I guess because they could potentially make money, a lot of money, by having a super, maybe not even super, like a high-end iPad Mini, or maybe another way to look at this is an even smaller iPad Pro. But they've obviously decided that iPad Pro should start at 11 inches, and I get it. I just arguably though, 60 hertz on an iPad in 2024, and I mean I could also say this about the phones. And I say this as someone who
I don't know, Federico. I read an article recently that said it was fine, so I don't know.
It's fine for me, but it's fine for me, and I've gotten used to it, and it's okay. But shouldn't the baseline be higher? Is what I'm saying. You know, like a bunch of you can go to any Android manufacturer for phones and devices that cost a lot less than Apple.
Yeah.
And the baseline is 90 hertz at least.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's just a little strange to have an iPad Mini that literally looks the same as the previous one after 3 years. I mean, there's no way that you look at this model and you know that the previous one was October 2021, and this update is exactly the same, and you don't think that's a little strange. Exactly the same.
Yeah, I don't find it strange. I find it strange in like I know what I want, but I don't find it strange in looking at their product lineup. Like, think about the 2020 iPad Pro. It's like we put LiDAR on it. You know, like they do this weird stuff every now and again.
Yeah,
and like the idea of like a Pro iPad Mini, I would love, but also I just don't think they can make a $799 iPad Mini. Like, I just think that I just don't. Even though I would want it, I just think that the market can't be big enough for them. And where, like, if they wait another 3 years, it probably will be OLED, right? And like, I know that is a really long time to wait, but like, I just think that that's what they're gonna do. Even though I want it, I always feel like with stuff like this, if they believed they could make the money, they'd probably do it, right? Like, I think that's the one thing we know about this company for sure. Like, if they felt confident that they could charge us more money, they would very happily do that. Maybe it just isn't the right time for this product. But it is sad to me though, because I wanted a more significant update to the iPad Mini, because this iPad Mini form factor is incredible. It's incredible. And I would have loved them to step it up whenever they've revised it. Like, I think they should have OLED. Like, that's what I want them to do. I think that would have been like just a small thing, and to be like, oh, this is great, you know, and charge $50 more, like whatever. Like, I don't think you need to make an iPad Mini Pro, but just an OLED display would have really made a big difference to this product, and would have made people really excited about it, where the thing that we're supposed to be excited about hasn't even begun shipping, won't have shipped when this product starts going on sale, and most of the things that they're showing in the press release, we don't know when they're coming still.
Are you referring to Apple Intelligence?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But like, that's the thing, right? Like, what is this iPad Mini? It's the iPad Mini for Apple Intelligence.
Right. Now, because you said that we're supposed to be excited about it, I'm not. So,
well, but you're not excited about it, but you're supposed to be in Apple's eyes, is what I'm saying.
Oh, I guess
right?
I'm supposed to be. Right,
like, this is the thing that they are pushing, is like, you should be excited about this. Like, I know you're not excited about it. Everybody knows this. But like, from Apple's perspective, you should be, right? Like, they want you to be excited. They want everyone to be excited. When I say A, you say I, you know? Like, that's what they want. They want you to be excited.
Are you excited, Myke?
I mean, I'm using 18.1 and I like some of the features. They do not excite me. Right? But like, I find notification summaries to be a useful feature. It does not excite me. And the thing is, the stuff that they've got coming down the road is less exciting. It's actually more annoying to me, with the exception of some stuff that is still going to be in 0.1, 0.2 or whatever that isn't even AI, right? Like the mail features. Like I'm intrigued about like their sorting in mail. Like there are features that they are going to be shipping this year that I am excited about, but they're not the AI stuff. And the AI stuff that they have left to ship, a lot of it I'm not excited about, and some of it I'm incredibly skeptical of, like the personalized Siri stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I am excited about the potential of that. I am not convinced they will deliver what I'm looking for with that, right? Like, and I think you would agree that you would be excited if Siri could actually reach into your apps and understand stuff and do things. Like, I understand the great complexity you have with Apple Intelligence. I understand it and I empathize with it. But you would be excited if Siri could actually do what you wanted.
Oh
right?
yeah, oh yeah. I mean, it's not like I mean, I have an opinion on a bunch of this AI stuff and how the training was done, but I'm not gonna I'm not an idiot. It's not like I'm not gonna test the things. Yeah. You can have an opinion. Like, in fact, I think it's it would be a shame to form an opinion about these things and then never change it again, or like never actually try the thing yourself. So I am gonna try the thing, and the contextual Siri and the new intense framework for AI. It is the only thing I'm excited about. I'm just very skeptical of it because, we've been burned with Siri for the past how many years? Like 13.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's. I mean, forgive me for being skeptical. It is what it is. I don't know. This iPad Mini though, it's coming out. There's not gonna be Apple Intelligence on it. Not that if it were, I could use it because I'm based in the European Union. It's gonna look pretty much the same. It's gonna be faster, I suppose, than before. I am still keen to check it out.
Sure.
I would say this: the one thing I'm very keen to check out is the Wi-Fi 6E. And the Apple Pencil Pro. I guess the Apple Pencil Pro too. But the Wi-Fi 6E, especially to use the iPad Mini as a game streaming device, I think that's going to be extra nice.
Yeah.
Especially when you combine this iPad Mini with a controller that's, one of those controllers that can sort of attach to the sides. It's easier to find those controllers for the iPad Mini than, say, an 11-inch or 13-inch iPad Pro. So this is the one thing I really want to check out. But yeah, otherwise, it is kind of a boring update. But if you care about Apple Intelligence, it's I guess you're gonna be able to use it.
This episode is brought to you in part by our friends at Squarespace, the all-in-one website platform for entrepreneurs to stand out and succeed online. Whether you're just getting started or managing a growing brand, you can stand out from the crowd with a beautiful website, engage directly with your audience, and sell your products, services, and the content that you create. Squarespace has everything you need, all in one place, all on your terms. You can make the most of design intelligence from Squarespace. It combines 2 decades of industry-leading design expertise with cutting-edge technology to unlock the strongest creative potential available to you. Design intelligence empowers anybody to build a beautiful, more personalized website that is tailored to their unique and exact needs, crafting a bespoke digital identity that can be used across your site's entire online presence. You can also take advantage of Squarespace Payments, which is the easiest way to manage your payments all in one place. Onboarding is super fast and simple, and you can get started in just a few clicks and start receiving payments right away. Plus, you can give your customers more ways to pay by choosing from popular payment methods like Klarna, ACH Direct Debit, Apple Pay, Afterpay, and ClearPay, depending on where you're located. Squarespace really is an entire package, and it's why I have been a huge fan of them and a customer of theirs for 15 years now, because they make it incredibly simple to get started with a website, and then as your site grows, it will grow alongside you, which I love. For example, you go on and you use Design Intelligence, you use their tools to create a website of your own. You can go in and just build it from the ground up. It's very easy to do. They have beautiful templates. You customize it to your heart's content. You get it out to the world. You publish your content. You publish your art, whatever it may be. And then as things start to grow, you may want to understand Is anybody coming to my website? Where are they coming from? This is where Squarespace's analytics system can come into play. You can measure your end-to-end online performance with powerful website and seller analytics. So if you sell stuff on Squarespace, you can also use their analytics there too. You can get insights on your top traffic sources, understand how your reach is growing, track your sales metrics, and learn where to focus your engagement. It's all the data you need to scale your brand or business, fully integrated and clearly displayed. Go and try this out for yourself today by going to squarespace.com. You can sign up for a free trial and build your whole website. Then when you're ready to launch it to the world, go to squarespace.com/connected to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That is squarespace.com/connected when you sign up, and you'll get 10% off your first purchase and show your support for the show. Our thanks to Squarespace for their continued support of this show and all of Relay. So let's talk about how we are using our iPads. I was an iPad mini user for a long time. The new iPad Pro completely sold me, and so now I'm in the iPad Pro camp because of the incredible thinness and lightness of it. We got to go together and see them in Battersea in May, I think that was. So we got to see those together. So how are you using your iPad right now? Or how are you using the iPad right now?
So I'm working on this. I've been working on this story for the past few months, really. The short version is that I use it for everything. It's been the way I look at it is that I spent a couple of years in the wilderness, if you will.
You did,
yeah, and it was necessary for me. I tried for 6 months. I used and I revealed this on the show to you and Steven. For 6 months, I used a couple of years ago a Microsoft Surface Pro, and then I switched to a MacBook Air and basically almost stopped using the iPad really. Then I created the MacPad, and basically after the M4s came out earlier this year, I decided this computer is so nice. I just want to try and really go back to the iPad. I feel like it was calling me, and I needed to come home, so to speak. And so for the past 3 months, especially since I decided that I was going to go with the 11-inch iPad Pro instead of the 13-inch, and with the nano texture glass instead of the standard glass, I have fallen in love with this machine so badly, and I use it for everything, and that's gonna be the angle of the story. How I now use the iPad Pro for everything except for one task. There is one thing that I still cannot do on the iPad because I figured out the podcasting. I'm recording this podcast right now on the iPad, but there's one thing that I still cannot do, which is it's quite really, it always goes back to that sort of problem. I cannot record video with my external camera while being on a Zoom call at the same time.
What I love is this was the problem with podcasting. You found a hardware solution that there's no point going into today, wait for the blog post, because it is still complicated. We worked together on this. I think me and you collaborated in secret, much to the upset of John and Steven. And we worked it out for you, and we got we found the thing you needed. But now you come back to the same problem because now you do video podcasts.
Yep, and I know if I go down that route, I know what a potential solution is going to be. Just, get a camera that, don't do the recording on your iPad Pro using Camo Studio. Do the recording directly on the camera, right?
Yeah.
And save the recording to an SD card or something.
Well, I mean, have you looked at the things like Riverside, where you kind of record in a browser?
I actually asked friend of the show, Chris Lawley, about it this morning.
Yeah.
This very question. Riverside requires a Chromium browser. So
they don't have an app?
I'm not, I don't know. I'm just basing this off of what Chris
They have
said.
an app. So I don't know. They have an app to record. I'm sure they do.
Well, this takes in investigation in entirely.
I mean, I'm looking at their app in the App Store. But I don't know how it works, right? But maybe you need to have the app open or what? I don't know, but there is a Riverside app. So
well, I've been using Zoom, so I mean, you know me. The problem is now that I need to switch services, obviously. But yeah, I need to investigate this more, which is why I've taken forever with this blog post. I started writing it in June, and things have changed. My desk has changed. The gear that I'm using has changed. It's been a 4-month long research process, but the gist of it is I'm not using any other computer right now. It's my 11-inch iPad Pro for all the things, and for reading, for working, for watching videos. I guess I don't play games on it because I have dedicated gaming handhelds. But yeah, that's I'm back on the iPad all the way. It's good to be home. That's my takeaway.
I'm also big time back on the iPad, not to the level that I had been, right? So like pre 2020, basically pre M1, like I was doing what you're doing. Or what you had been doing, right? Like we were essentially at the same level where I used my iPad for everything other than recording and editing podcasts, like everything. Like I was, I had my iPad in stands. I was using external keyboards and trackpads and like the whole 9 yards. Like, and I was very happy. But then the M1 Mac kind of blew my mind, and then I went down that path and never changed. One of the other things for me was when they also produced a good display, and then at that point I was like, oh, this actually just works easier for me to just plug my laptop into my display and then just use my Mac. And that was solidified when I moved into my studio, because that was easier than kind of unplugging and replugging iPads in, which I tried for a bit but preferred this. And then I kind of left the iPad behind. Then I fell in love with the iPad mini. It was like my home computer, and I was doing a bunch of stuff on it. And then the 11-inch iPad Pro called to me, with like OLED display and everything about it. Like, just loved it because I'd not used an OLED iPad. I now have 2 iPads. I have 2 iPad Pros.
This is wild.
Yeah.
I need to understand this. Okay.
So the 11-inch iPad Pro is my home computer, and it is the device that I use most when I'm at home. Like I use it more than
I
my
love
phone.
that expression. It's such a throwback. The home computer.
Yeah, it's like it's like it's in the computer room, and everybody goes and they sit at it, and then they use the iPad, and like so. It's kind of for me, being what it is, it splits into kind of 2 use cases, and it's usually like morning and evening, because I'm typically in the middle of the day, I'm either at work or I'm doing things at home or out and about on the weekends or whatever. So in the morning, my 11-inch iPad Pro, which I don't have a smart keyboard for, I don't have any smart keyboards at all. I just use my iPad in a smart folio. So in the morning, I'm like checking messages, checking emails. I'm starting starting some show prep in the morning, which could either be like today, for example. Brad does the 90% of the show prep for the Pen Addict, but I'll go in and read what he as the articles that he's dropped in and the notes he's dropped in, and I'll also bring in questions from listeners and follow up and stuff, and I can do that all on my iPad really easily. It doesn't take too much time, so I'll do that in the morning. And then like for starting connected prep, I'll just go through my RSS while I'm at home, because it's just kind of like a nice, easy thing to do. I'm kind of like just going through it. I'm not really reading articles. I'm just like scanning headlines and scanning the first few things, and then like sending them to my Apple Note to read later on, because I think they might be interesting for the show or whatever. And then I'll also do I'll open Todoist. I'll do some task triage, make sure like the things that I've got in today, like am I going to do them today, or shall I move things to other days? So it's like those kinds of like early in the day activities, and all of those kinds of activities I think are fantastic for the iPad. Like perfect, right? Like I really like a touch interface for this kind of stuff. I think it works really well. It's very comfortable. And, anything where you're dealing with like text, like the iPad is just perfect for, right? Like the quality of the screen, all this kind of stuff, like wonderful. And then in the evening, I use my 11-inch iPad Pro for watching videos. Like I watch a lot of YouTube on my iPad. And then just like social media and what I refer to as noodling, which is just like
the expression that Gray loves.
Yes, he loves
Cortex.
it.
The noodling,
computer noodling, where you're kind of just like bouncing around from one thing to another thing. You know, like where you're not doing a task of any kind. You're just kind of like, I'm checking this over here, I'm checking that over there. You're noodling. You're noodling around.
You're noodling. Yeah.
So that's my 11-inch iPad Pro, which is like, I don't know if you've ever heard this term, personal computer. It's one of those for me. So my home personal computer. And then my 13-inch iPad Pro is a dedicated device for Cortex brand.
Okay.
That's what this product is for. It lives at the studio, and it lives on a particular table that I have for design, like for product design. So I just leave it on there. And when I'm at my design table, I only use this device. And so it has specific apps on it, which are for this work. It's signed into specific services that are just for Cortex brand. Like I don't have everything on this device. Like I set it up fresh and I just add the things that I need. So for this iPad Pro, like what I like, there's a bunch of things I like about it, and why I wanted to get this, because I had the 11 and I was very happy, but the 13-inch iPad Pro gives a larger canvas for sketching. So I do a lot of sketching and also brainstorming, which I like to do with written, and is really good to just use an Apple Pencil for this stuff. Some sketching I will do on paper, and then I can also scan those with the iPad Pro as well. At the moment, I've actually a while ago on the show, I spoke about wanting to look at infinite canvas applications. And a lot of people recommended a few, especially concepts to me. Mm-hmm. Freeform is where I've landed.
Okay.
I think that some of these applications are just way more complex than I need. And like for me, the basic set of pencil kit tools and an infinite canvas, that it just works really well. And then Freeform also is just like super good for sharing with other people. Like it's so built into the ecosystem. Freeform is underrated, I think. I think you need to have a specific task that Freeform is good at to value its quality. Like, and if you're not doing something which is like this, like brainstorming or whatever, or like for me, it's like I'm starting sketching an idea and then I'm drawing arrows because now I'm like, and what I like about these infinite canvas apps is I don't need to worry about where the edge of the page is, or I don't have to work in a linear form, right? Like if I'm working in an Apple Note, I'm just going down the whole time. But what I like about Freeform is I can start with, say, a sketch in the middle, and I can, draw like blow up parts of it, where like I want to draw a specific detail or something I was working on recently. Like by the time that I ended at what I thought might be a decent idea, it was very far on the left, because like I just kept drawing left, because what I drew in the middle and what I drew on the right and left, I liked the idea on the left more, so I just kept going. And I really like that about Freeform. You kind of just keep going until you're done. And yeah, it's a cool product. I would like them to actually do more with Freeform and the Vision Pro. I would like to be able to stand up and draw on a Freeform board in Vision Pro, like you can in the Meta Horizon. So you can kind of use a digital whiteboard, which I think is a really cool thing. And I would like them to do that kind of stuff with Freeform. But yeah, so we'll use that for like product designy stuff, like sketching and brainstorming. But also I really like it for product evaluation. So this can take a couple of different forms. So this can either be like, I have a product that I'm working on, like I have a prototype of it, and I want to kind of write some notes down. So I'll either, I'll just type on the keyboard, or I will speak aloud. Something I found recently, which was really helpful. So we're working on pocket notebooks at Cortex Brand, which will be coming next year. And I wanted to try and kind of like I was sitting down and thinking to myself, like, how do I describe these to people? Like, what is our marketing message for like what the product is, what it's for? And I just opened Notion and I turned on dictation and just started talking, which I'd never really done before. And it was more of just like, let me talk through my feelings of the product, which I found to be better than trying to write them out. So I'm like, looking at it, I'm holding it, I'm like, it does this, it does that. Like, I like it because of this. I like using it for that. And it's just like a lot of stuff that I can go through and edit. But I found that to be pretty cool as like a way to just evaluate a product. And then also I take pictures and video with the iPad, which I can share. Like, I can take a picture of a prototype and kind of like share that with whoever needs to see it. But something I've also found to be really useful, like when I'm work with a lot of creative people now, like designers and stuff. I'm not very good at writing design feedback. I'm better at speaking it. So most of the time, I'll just record a video with my iPad and just be like, look, you can see how it does this. I would like it to do something different. And like the designer that I work with, his name's David, he finds this to be so much more helpful than the madness that I write down. like I start writing and then I'll like send it. I'm like, oh wait, no, I actually mean this. And it sometimes, like he has just said to me, he's like, I actually don't know what you're talking about anymore. And so this is when I started taking videos, because like what can be helpful is like, sometimes I'm like, no, I want a line to be lined up with this rather than lined up with that. And it's helpful for me to just take a video where I'm pointing my finger at something as opposed to trying to explain it abstractly. So what I actually really love about using my iPad Pro this way is I feel like I am the type of person, like I'm doing the type of work that Apple imagines someone might do with an iPad. Like I feel like for the product design stuff, it feels more like the ideal iPad customer.
You are the commercial.
Yeah,
right now.
Like sometimes I'm doing this stuff and I'm like, yes, I feel like I am the type of person that sometimes when you go to like Apple events or whatever, they will have kind of like people set up like working, right? Like this is them actually work when they're not really working. They're like demoing how they work, right? We've seen stuff like this. I've been to events that Apple put on before where they're like showing. Like I went to one with the Mac Pro once where they had like people from different fields, like someone was a photo editor, someone was a video editor, someone was a game designer, and they're just like showing you how they use the product. And this is how I feel when I use my iPad Pro this way, where I'm like, this is how they imagine somebody uses an iPad Pro. Like I'm doing those things,
Nice.
So that's how I use my iPads.
That's great. I'm happy for you. It's good to have you back.
I'm back big time. These iPad Pros, man. Pooh.
They're good.
They're so good. They're so good. I don't care that the iPad Mini didn't get better. Like, if they had to put all this effort in at the sacrificing of the iPad Mini, I'm happy with that.
I agree with that. Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Going online without ExpressVPN is a little like not having a case on your iPhone. Most of the time, you'll probably be fine, but all it takes is one drop, and you'll wish you'd spent those extra few dollars on a case. When you connect to an unencrypted network, maybe in a cafe, a hotel, an airport, networks that you don't trust, networks that you don't control, your online data is not completely secure. Someone on the same network could gain access to your personal data. This could include details about your credit card. It could include passwords. It could include things you don't want in someone else's hands. And ExpressVPN stops people from stealing your data by creating a secure, encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet. There are tons of reasons to choose ExpressVPN over other VPNs. It's super secure. It would take a hacker with a supercomputer over 1 billion years to get past ExpressVPN's encryption. It's easy to use. You just fire up the app, click one button, and you're protected. It works on all your devices, between your phones, your laptops, your tablets, and more, so you can stay on the go. And it's been rated #1 by top tech reviewers like CNET and The Verge. I am a happy ExpressVPN customer myself. One of the things that I do a lot with ExpressVPN is when I'm traveling, I'm using ExpressVPN and say if I'm in a hotel because I don't know that network, I don't administer that network, so I want to make sure I'm secure, but also to be able to change my location so I can finish off watching the shows that I was watching while I'm at home. I could just open up ExpressVPN, say that I'm back in the UK, open a streaming service and continue where I left off. Secure your online data today by visiting expressvpn.com/connected. That's expressvpn.com/connected, and you'll get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. That is expressvpn.com/connected. Our thanks to ExpressVPN for the support of this show and Relay.
I have a quick, very small surprise for you, Myke.
Okay.
So you know me, I like to try all the things, right? I like my options, right? And so yeah, I decided, you know what? It's been a while. I kind of want to try the AirPods Max again.
Oh, you poor thing. Okay.
So that's how it goes.
Okay.
I want to try the AirPods Max again. I thought, well, I'm gonna get them the USB-C version in Starlight from Amazon, and if I don't like them, I got a 30-day return window.
Sure.
That was my thought. Apple also, obviously they have a store on Amazon now, so you're buying from Apple, but via Amazon. I gotta tell you, obviously having USB-C is part of the reason why I sold the previous AirPods Max was that I hated charging them with Lightning so much, using just the one Lightning cable with those headphones. Like, it annoyed me so much. And when I got them, I gotta tell you, as someone who's not that huge on noise cancellation, because I actually don't need to cancel noise that frequently, as pure wireless headphones, they sound incredible.
They're fantastic.
They still sound incredible.
Yeah.
The Starlight color looks so elegant compared to the previous space gray one that I had years ago. I really, really like the way that it looks. I like the color of the case. I like everything about these headphones. But there was a problem. When I was putting them on, after 15 to 20 minutes, I could feel the pain on my head because they were clamping onto my head too tight. And I was really annoyed about that. I forgot that this was an issue with the previous AirPods Max. I don't think the shape of my head has changed in the past year since I sold my first gen Max. I don't know if it's slightly different in terms of the shape of the headphone arms, how they clamp onto my head. But after 20 minutes, I could feel the pressure on the sides of my head. Actually, you know what it is? I'm using different glasses. I'm using the Meta Ray-Bans that have thicker arms. That's what it is. Oh, yeah. That's what. Just now, I'm realizing what the difference is.
Yeah.
They're thicker. Therefore, I was feeling the clamping of the AirPods Max too much. And so I was generally kind of bummed out about this because I love the sound so much, and rotating the dial, it's a small thing, but rotating the digital crown.
The digital crown on the AirPods Max is better than the digital crown on the Apple Watch.
It's so nice. It's so nice. And a physical control for play and pause. Yes, thank you.
And one of my favorite things, because they have the two buttons, right? So you have the play pause, which is on the crown, and then you have the big button for noise cancellation transparency.
It's great.
When I'm on a plane, which is really the only place that I use these things, if someone's talking to me, just hit them both at the same time. It pauses what I'm watching and turns on transparency.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Yeah.
Very satisfying.
Very nice. But I was in pain, right? It was bothering me. And so I Googled how to make AirPods Max more comfortable. Simple Google search. And I landed on this Reddit thread from 4 years ago. And sometimes when I reach these Reddit threads, what I like to do is I like to scroll down to the comments, and I like to sort the comments by date. Because usually when something is from a few years ago is the top results on Google for these kinds of problems, there's always the people coming in years after the original thread was posted to say, 4 years later, this worked for me. Thank you so much. And so, Myke, I'm going to send you a video on iMessage.
Okay.
And I want you to not get scared for what you're about to see.
Okay.
So the video is sending now. I did something that was recommended in this thread. The title of the thread was "Finally Solved the AirPods Max Clamping Force Tightness." I believe you have received the video I shot with my Meta Ray-Bans.
Yeah.
And please describe what you're looking at.
So Federico is essentially opening the AirPods Max to a completely horizontal degree. They are absolutely stretched past the point where they should break.
Yeah.
They're absolutely horizontal.
This technique, so do not do this to your AirPods Max. I am not responsible. If you try this, it's your responsibility, not mine. I'm just sharing my personal experience. This technique is called super stretching the AirPods Max.
All right, look. Why do people have to name everything? Like, why does this need a name?
Because humans communicate with words and we need words to express what we do, I suppose. So the idea is you super stretch the AirPods Max. They're going to bend. They're not going to break. You can stretch them to 170, 180 degrees, 190 degrees, which is more like...
This is not what I thought. So this is not a mod. You just keep stretching them.
Yeah. So
you can break them. Like I'm expecting, like if you stretch them the wrong way.
There is a point where they will break. I'm sure. But if you do again, don't do this. If you do it, it's your call, not mine. But I followed what the person on Reddit was saying. Like, you do this for like 30 to 60 seconds. You do it a couple of times, and it's going to make a world of difference. And let me tell you, Myke, I've done this. My word, is it better. Like, I can now wear these headphones for like hours, and I don't feel anything anymore. It's the most comfortable thing I've ever done. Like, seriously, this single thing, stretching the AirPods Max to basically be almost completely flat, to the point where you think they're not supposed to go that way, but they do, and they don't break. You do this for like 2 times for 30 seconds. It's been incredible. And I am so happy. I can now wear this. I don't feel any pressure on my head anymore. I can wear my Meta Ray-Ban glasses. They're thicker than before, but I don't care because these are so comfortable now, and they stay comfortable. I guess I have, you do this and you bend the metal a little, and I don't know what else to say. The technique works, and check out the comments. Sort the comments by date in that Reddit thread. The top comment right now, the most recent one is, "Thank you so much for this. You literally saved my Max's life. Hello from 2024. This worked, and thank you." Again, if you try this, don't say Federico told me to do this. Make an informed decision. I'm just sharing my experience. This worked, and I love it.
I will say, if you do this, you should go to this Reddit thread and say, Federico told me to do this, with no context. No context at all. Just Federico told me to do this. Have you ever come across it's a concept in horticulture and plants called forcing?
Forcing.
It's where you convince a plant to grow in a certain way.
Oh, yeah, that's what I do with my plants. Yeah.
So that's what this feels like.
Yeah.
It feels like you're gently stretching it over time, like to kind of force
it. You tell it to
shape.
go in one direction. Yeah. Yes, it's supposed to be this way. Yes. Yeah. So just, I didn't mod my AirPods Max. I did not install any weird thing. I super stretched the headphones. Yeah.
If you would like to find this Reddit thread, it's in the show notes. I put it in there, which you can find at relays.fm/connected, where you can also sign up to become a member, or you can go to the much better URL, which is getconnectedpro.co. We spoke about gamers topics for gamers once again in Connected Pro, which I think you can probably rest assured will be the rest of Connected Pro for this month. It will be gamers topics for real gamers. So if you're a real gamer like us, you should get connectedpro.co. If you want to find Federico online, you can go to macstories.net, and he is Ticci at macstories.net on Mastodon, and Ticci on Threads. I am Myke. I am YKE. You can find this show over at relay.fm. You can find my work at cortexbrand.com. Thank you to our sponsors this week. That is ExpressVPN, Squarespace, and Fitbod. But most of all, thank you for listening. We'll be back next week. Until then, say goodbye, Federico.
Arrivederci.
Cheerio.